This little box I have here is the Roland Go Mixer Pro X. It's an audio mixer and an audio interface that lets you plug this unit into your smartphone in order to record or live stream music and anything else that you want to plug into this, microphones and so on. Now this is a follow-on to the Go Mixer Pro, which came out last year and which we reviewed here on Digital DJ Tips. And so in this review, I'm going to talk you quickly through the differences between this and the old one, and also why you might want something like this as a DJ, especially as a DJ who live streams using video and audio. Now, if you enjoy what you see here, please do join Digital DJ Tips. It's easy and there's a link underneath. You get a free copy of our book, Rock the Dance Floor, which has helped tens of thousands of DJs to learn this craft. And if you enjoy the video and want to know about more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. So, the Go Mixer Pro X is sold as something which works with smartphones, but this also works with Macs, PCs, anything that's class compliant USB. We actually use one of these here in the studio with our Mac, which is just off to my left. It's actually, the original one is actually under the desk now, feeding this audio through to you, and we use it to feed controllers and so on through as well. So these are something which can work whether you're using it with a phone or not. That said, it comes with leads that you can use with Android phones and with your Mac, your iOS device. So you've got the Lightning and the USB-C connectors and so on there for this. This has got lots of inputs. Let's have a little talk around what is on this so you can see how flexible it is. So it's got knobs on the front to control lots and lots of different types of input. So you've got a stereo input control, you've got controls for microphones, and you've also got a control for an instrument here, which is like for a bass or a guitar, but you could equally use that for a mono synthesizer and so on. And it's got a master volume control down here at the bottom. Now obviously with lots of inputs and outputs, you're going to need lots of extra stuff on here to make those work. So all the edges have got something on them. Round on this edge here, we have the two left and right inputs for your stereo line input, which is controlled with one of the mixer knobs on the top. And indeed, this is where I would recommend you plug in your DJ controller. We'll kind of set this up together in a second and I'll show you that. Round on the front here, well, we've got our two stereo line inputs. So these are like 1/8 inch line inputs on the front for stereo input. They don't actually have any knobs on the top to control them, but you can plug two extra full stereo inputs in there as well. We also have a headphones monitor, which is actually really useful, which has also got a headset microphone in as well down there. There's a loopback control. Loopback will take the audio from your computer that you've got plugged into this and feed it back into the device. Now there's no audio level for that, but that's something that could be useful as well. And then there is a pad control. Now this is a new control on this version of the unit compared to the old one, which attenuates the guitar input. So we're moving around to this side now. This is the input for a guitar, but also could be used for a synthesizer. So if there's a slightly higher output from your device there, that will attenuate it, so that it makes that one a little bit more useful. Now around the side here, there is a headphones, a smartphone in and out socket. Now this is new as well. So they provide you with a cable that is a TRRS cable, which means it's got input, mono input and stereo output from a smartphone, and you can plug that in there. So this gives you effectively an extra input output, which you can use for analog smartphones or just to use as an extra input or output. So there's an extra output going on there as well. There's phantom power here. So this microphone input here, this XLR input, can take mics that need power. The power is provided by batteries that go into this top part of the unit here. It unscrews here, and you can put 4 AAA batteries in there. It's not kind of rechargeable or anything, so you'd have to use rechargeable batteries if you wanted to work it that way. And then there's a battery on off at the back, and there's a USB, it's a micro USB socket there, not a more modern USB-C socket on the back for plugging this into your phone. And the idea is that let's take a different shot here. The idea is that you take your DJ controller, here's my DJ controller here, and you take your output from your DJ controller, and I'm using these two cables here, and you plug that into your main input there. So now we have our DJ controller plugged in there. Our phone sits on the back like that, which is quite neat. And then we take one of the provided cables. In this instance, I'm using the provided cable for our, whoops, phone fell off there. We're using the provided cable for our Lightning device. Plug that in there. Now this Lightning device is still in its case. and it works with the Apple silicone case at least on there, and that plugs in there, and now we've got the audio feeding from our DJ controller via its own audio control here, its own volume knob, into the unit here, and then we can use whatever we want to go live from our phone using whatever software we want to use. That's there, or we can even just record straight into our phone. And of course we've got all the other inputs as well, so we could plug a microphone in, we can plug extra line inputs around the front, so we could plug in synthesizers, drum machines, samplers and so on. It's all fed there. You've got mixer controls over some of this stuff. There's one peak meter on the top there, so you're going to have to be careful with your levels and make sure you check in your ears that they're not distorting if you like. But one thing I really did like about this is that you've got this headphone socket on the front. Now this is actually how we use it here at Digital DJ Tips. So what we do is we have our speakers on a adapter cable, and we plug this in the front, and the other end of this goes off to our speakers. So this allows us to monitor on our speakers in the studio what's going on, or on headphones what's going on, what's being fed to the device. Now we use it, as I say, with a Mac, not with a phone, but that's cool. What's being fed to the device. So having this loopback is good, and that's actually really useful if you're trying to DJ. Let's say you've got a small DJ controller, like one of these. This is a little Reloop Buddy controller, and you want to live stream with this. Now your problem now is going to be that this has only got one output. It's only got one stereo output. So when you've plugged that into your speakers to hear what you're doing, where are you going to plug your live stream device in? Well, something like this Roland Go Mixer Pro X can help there, because what you do is you plug your Pro X into here in the way I've just shown you with these big orange cables. You plug a cable in there to plug it into that, and then you plug your speakers into the headphones output from there, and then that allows you to hear in your room just like you normally would by plugging your speakers directly into here, have that analog out to your speakers, while at the same time feeding the digital signal into whatever you want to go live on your phone or whatever. So that's a nice way of setting that up. Now, one thing that Roland shows on the promo for this thing is it shows a picture of someone sat cross-legged on the floor. I think it's probably in a meadow outdoors, with their DJ controller on the floor in front of them, and this unit also on the floor with the phone on it. And the phone camera is switched on, and it's showing the person sat cross-legged on the floor, their DJ controller, and they're kind of DJing away. And this is providing the audio input to the phone, but also it's a nice stand in order to stand the phone up, and the phone's camera is giving coverage to the person going live. That is not going to work. That doesn't wash. This isn't very practical for that kind of thing. You know, if you were going to use this as a stand for your phone, so that you're going live, all the audio is being fed into the phone nicely in the way I've just described, but it's also being used as a stand so that you've got a nice framing of the video, it's not going to go on the floor. This has got to be up somewhere, and that normally means a tripod. Now, off camera, I've got our tripod here. Here's a tripod. How are you going to fit this onto a tripod? You can't, because there's no hole in the bottom to screw. Just a little screw attachment to fit onto a tripod pad there would have been absolutely brilliant on this, because then you could, let's put that back over there, then you could fit this thing to a tripod and have your phone up there and have it all set up right, and it would be really, really useful that way. You'd probably want a better mount for the phone, because with all the cables in here, there's a chance it could get tugged and pulled, and you just maybe want your phone to be a little bit more secure on there. But just that little screw on the bottom, I think would have made this a lot more useful. Now let's talk about the sound quality of this little thing. It actually sounds really nice. It's audio buffs have told us on the previous version that it's maybe got a bit of a noise floor on it, which is a bit higher than on real pro stuff. We couldn't hear it. Everything you're listening to now and everything we've ever recorded in the last year has gone through the original of this, which is very close in design and look to this one. So I think certainly sound quality is going to be fine for DJs. And it's really flexible. If you know, we've always said DJs should have a little live mixer. Now we've got live mixers knocking around here. Here's one. These are called live mixers. And the idea of this is it's got lots of inputs and outputs, and you can basically route audio all over the place to do all kinds of stuff. So if you're a DJ working with a drum machine or with a rapper or with another DJ and you want to plug yourselves together, or you're trying to set up a live stream, or you've been asked to play a festival and they haven't got a way of feeding everything on the stage into the PA. Look, having one of these in your bag is awesome. A little live mixer, a little PA mixer is a great thing. We've always said, look, DJs, they cost like $80, $100 or whatever. Have a little mixer like this. I also think nowadays, having a really flexible little audio interface like this is a great idea. It just means you can do all kinds of things. You can, something occurs to you and you can probably do it with this. It's got a lot of inputs, outputs, flexibility, ways of routing stuff and so on, which is really cool for the money. It's like I think about 130 UK pounds, probably about $130 as well. So you're getting a lot for your money there. It doesn't feel massively well made. The knobs are a bit scratchy, the thing's a bit lightweight, it's very plasticky, but that's okay. The old ones function fine enough for us for the last year without kind of going wrong, so I think that's okay. It's a little bit like owning a small mixer as the digital version of that, and for that reason it's a really good thing. What it's missing: tripod stand. USB-C is a bit naff. Micro USB is a bit naff. That should really be a USB-C nowadays. It's clearly an old molding, an old device, and they haven't updated that. I'd like to have seen that as a USB-C, and I'd like to have seen input power, because if you've got a device like your phone or your iPad or whatever plugged into the back of this, by definition it's not being charged. And so I'd like to have seen, the ability, and maybe even a mains adapter in the box, or a version of this with a mains adapter at least, so that if you do want to use it for long periods of time, it can charge your phone at the same time. That said, it doesn't seem to take too much power from the phone, and the channels do provide a lot of gain. We've had stuff plugged into here, and you can boost it up. We can get our microphones nice and loud and so on with this. So it's, this isn't a passive mixer. This is doing the job of balancing everything out for you. But having the mains input would mean that you wouldn't be relying on your phone battery to provide all that, and your phone cannot provide phantom power for the mic. If you're thinking about, oh, can I use a powered mic with my phone? No, you can't. You do have to put the batteries in it for that. So that's the Roland Go Mixer Pro X. If you'd like to see kind of our original review of this, of the original Go Mixer Pro, which isn't that different, there is a link underneath where I'll go into a bit more detail about this unit, but I think I've probably covered everything you need to know to decide whether this is for you. Look, if you want a little audio interface, this is a good one. Just don't think that it's going to be particularly useful for video out of the box. You're still probably going to want some kind of mount or tripod or whatever if you're using your phone to also provide video for your live streams. So if you've enjoyed this, once more, please do subscribe to Digital DJ Tips, become our latest member. And if you have enjoyed this video and want to know when we make more videos like this, well, just use that link there. Or rather, click subscribe and the bell on YouTube, and we can let you know when we go live with more stuff like this. But meanwhile, this is me, Phil, in the Digital DJ Tips studio, saying get good, get out there, make the moments, and I'll see you again very soon.